Hello neighbor, I'm Robert Burns and welcome once again to another edition of Sound Off Louisiana. It's my pleasure to be back with you. We haven't been doing as many of these since the COVID epidemic took place in early March. But I have a gentleman seated to my right here. You may recognize him. It was about a year ago, this general time frame, that we did a feature on him because he was running for the governor of the state of Louisiana. This is Dr. Omar Dantzler. He did not prevail in that race for governor, but as everyone would know, his opponent, the predominant Democratic opponent, incumbent Governor John Bel Edwards, did prevail. And here recently, Dr. Dantzler contacted us and said he'd like to appear and gave us some little facts of what's sticking in his craw, so to speak, today. And as is our policy, whenever somebody wants to voice sentiments about the issues of governmental issues, we provide that for them. So I'm going to let Dr. Dantzler take over. I'll tell you, he contacted us yesterday. He has filed a couple of lawsuits, one of which is an allegation of discrimination with regard to hiring or for a position that came available at his employer, the Tangipahoa Parish School Board. So Dr. Dantzler, I'm going to let you kind of take the stage and bring our viewers up to speed, and as you need to highlight certain things, I will just make my way around and we'll zoom that camera in and we'll let you voice your sentiments here.
I tell you what, pleased to meet you and glad that you have taken time out again, Mr. Byrne. I tell you, we need more people getting involved in our community, our parish and our state and local government to expose a lot of the corruption and things that's going around our surrounding state and country. You know, it's very good to have someone like you that you can call on, you know, whenever you have the time, you know, to come out. And
I appreciate that.
I'd like to say again, like the Dr. Oscar Dantzler Jr., many of you all have heard a little bit about me, that I was a gubernatorial candidate for the 2019 race, and I ran as a Democrat, and me and John Bel Edwards was the only two Democrats that was running against the other Republican. And most of the people was not aware that my gubernatorial candidate was concealed by your local NAACP, state president, national president. Also, I would like to mention also that as a member of the Louisiana State chapter of the NAACP, I also filed a lawsuit against the president of the state chapter and also the national level, Derek Johnson, because I sent letters to them, a copy along with my EEOC letter issued to me to right to see, because they specialize in racial discrimination and representing individuals. They denied to even send me a letter back. They refused to give me representation. So I sued them also in federal court, people. It's time out. They're taking our money. It's time that we hold them accountable. What if that was you or your son or daughter, been a member of the local chapter in WSB for 30 years and y'all needed representation? In fact, that Derek Johnson, they didn't retain an attorney to represent them, to defend them. What about me? Why couldn't they recommend an attorney from Washington, D.C. to represent my case? And again, people, I think it's wrong. I stand for justice. And I also do a lot of your TV broadcasting. My TV commercials could not get out. Radio broadcasting to let and inform the community and the parish and the state citizen that they did have another choice to run and elect someone else for a Democratic governor. But again, that's good and all said, but I want to share something with you all. I was very disappointed that as a 30-year-old bus driver employee of the Tangipahoa Parish school system, that I was appointed as the lead chair advisor on the advisory bus driver committee for the Tangipahoa Parish school system in the state of Louisiana, in which is the hometown, which is the hometown that the governor, John Bel Edwards, and their family strongly rule and have strong political back from that town. I would deny 3. Mr. Byrne, if you would, I would like to just to read this, if you would. This is the complaint that right here that.
All right, you want us to focus on we were going to provide you with a link for the totality of this federal litigation, including the mail receipts, because he's going to elaborate on that in just a moment. But I will go ahead and do as he asked, and I will read you the crux of the core complaint, which is contained in Exhibit A. Exhibit A of this litigation, which was filed in, as I understand it, Washington, D.C. Am I correct?
Well, my original EEO complaint was filed in New Orleans, Eastern District, United States, EEOC, Opportunity Commission out of New Orleans, federal.
Okay, it is federal, but this particular complaint was filed in New Orleans. I stand corrected on that. The main lawsuit that
United States,
up in D.C.
Yes,
correct.
Sir.
All right, here we go. This is the narrative. I began my employment with the Tangipahoa Hope Parish School District in 1993 as a bus driver. Throughout my employment, I have been vocal and served as chairman of the Bus Driver Advisor Committee, speaking out about discriminatory and unfair labor practices at the school district. Since October 2018, I have applied for several promotional positions. I was not selected for any position I applied for, despite being highly qualified, having seniority, and more experience than the individuals hired. 2 of the positions I applied for were given to white females, and 1 was given to a black female. No reason was given as to why I was not selected. I believe I have been discriminated against because of my sex, male, my race, black, and that I have been retaliated against in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended.
And strongly let them know what date that was filed, what you would.
The date that this was filed was August 8th of 2019, which I guess was about 2 months before the initial round of the election. Okay. All right, I'll let you take back over.
And I want people to be aware that this complaint was filed in the United States Eastern District area of EEOC off of Parger Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is the federal government agency that handles this type of complaint. I have sent several letters to the Louisiana Commission of Human Rights Office, EEOC, advising them, requesting who was handling my case, to try to meet with somebody there, their agents. No one never responded back to none of my certified mail. And finally, throughout the month, they were campaigning and about me running for governor. Shortly thereafter, I received a call from someone unknown and advised me that my EEOC complaint that I filed in New Orleans office was some kind of way was transferred to the office of the governor, John Bell Edward, who's the head of the Louisiana Commission of Human Rights. And I could not believe that. As a candidate that ran against John Bell Edward, that came out vocally, video, constantly exposing the corruption about him and his family, you know, during the 2019 gubernatorial race. And I think strongly that that was a conflict of interest, abuse of a government power. And not only that, I've sent several certified mails to the office of the governor, Louisiana Human Rights Commission office, asking them to meet with them to discuss the status of my claim. No one never met with me. I finally sent a last document with supportive document to prove that I was discriminated against, that the school board had violated several other positions, criminal law that deals with, they constantly was under the segregation lawsuit, George Moore versus the Tangipahoa Parish School System, which is a 54-year-old case. The second that's still pending in federal court up under United States Federal Judge LaMayor. Now, after I sent my last documents, I think around March the 20th, I think around the 21st, about around the 21st of 2020, expeditiously, I have a return letter sent from me, unquote, I want to let y'all see it for yourself on record, from the Louisiana Commissioner Office here, dated, Mr. Burns,
You want me to go zoom it in? All
dated March the 30th here.
It is.
Louisiana Commission of Human Rights.
Correct.
From Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Correct.
In which I filed this in the United States EEOC off of Parker Street in New Orleans. And contained in the letter here, Mr. Burns, for the public record, is a notice of dismissal, a notice of a right to sue letter from the office of the Governor John Bell Edwards from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
I do see that, and we'll have a link for it. Would you like for me to read the box that's checked? And what
Yes,
it says?
sir.
Okay.
And people, I want you to understand that from March the 21st through the 21st that I sent certified mail, expeditiously, they never met with me. This lady here, one of the agents, Dr. Leash Rabe, sent me, dated 03/25/2020, a right to sue letter, meaning they never met with me since the date of August the 8th, 2019, and here's the dated letter, the 3/25/2020, a right to sue. All these months went by. No one ever met with me to discuss my charge. And Mr. Burns, would you read that, Mr. Burns?
I will, and we'll also, it's obviously going to be in the link for his entire package, but we'll also go ahead and blow this up on the screen. Now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks that can be checked. They check the 5th block, and I will read it off. The LCHR issues the following determination. Based upon its investigation, the LCHR, which is short for Louisiana Commission on Human Rights, is unable to conclude that the information obtained establishes violations of the statutes. This does not certify that the respondent is in compliance with the statutes. No finding is made as to any other issues that might be construed as having been raised by this charge. And as he pointed out, it is signed and dated March 25th of 2020.
Now, people, we don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Now, my question, how did the office of John Bell Edwards out of Baton Rouge get my EEOC complaint, right to sue information from the New Orleans office? No one never notified me concerning that my case would be transferred or anything. I sent letters and documentation requesting to meet. And I think that's very wrong. I think that all of those agents, government agents, should be held accountable. You know, that we living in a town. I had all the respect for the superintendent. And again, I had met personally with the superintendent on multiple occasions, you know, to discuss issues that were concerning my employment, the promotions and stuff like that, EOC complaint. But I find it very hard, people, that it led up to have to file an EOC complaint. It left me fed up to file a United States federal lawsuit in the United States Eastern District Court. People, it's a shame how you easier and cheaper just to go on and fulfill a position, hire somebody, then to wait and pay all these unnecessary attorney fees, you know, court fees. People, most parents out there know me, teachers know me, principals know me. For 30 years, I have dealt in the school system. Y'all know I'm a loving guy. I'm one of the top bus drivers out there, you know, and it's bad that positions that out there that come available, but how can you give other people positions between 5 or 10 years who I train, and I have 30 years as a lead bus driver that does most of the training. Most bus drivers contact me if they have problems on the bus, breakdown. Hey, Mr. Dantzler, where do I put my flyers at? What do I need to do? They barely call their supervisor. I help them get out routes when other bus drivers don't show up. And it's very, very bad and wrong. But anyway, that's done and said. I've launched a lawsuit, and in federal court, I have filed a writ of mandamus against the governor. Plus, I sent I sent letters also, Mr. Burns, to the United States FBI, asking them to investigate my complaint against the governor and the school board. They camouflaged my complaint. So I filed a written mandamus, forcing the court also to force the FBI which required by law, they issued a mandatory, they have a mandatory duty to investigate, you know, complaints, especially when it comes to racketeering. I filed a complaint upon the RICO Act in federal court alleging government officials conspired to violate all of my civil rights against me. That's very important, people. When is it enough? When is it enough? And last but not least, Mr. Burns, I want to point out, Mr. President Trump, I hope that you can get this information and see this information that I have filed against John Bel Edward. I want to share some things. You have some people in your camp is concealing and supporting John Bel Edward in this lawsuit here. Some federal officials trying to file, they're trying to get them dismissed from being held accountable. But I think, Mr. Trump, if somebody can get you this video and you can force your FBI to investigate my complaint, I guarantee you that it will be willing to work for your while, because some of them that you thinking is with you, they are not with you. I have the lawsuit that was filed in the Eastern District, transferred to federal court in Washington, D.C., District of Columbus. I'm asking, but Mr. Trump requesting that you or somebody will get the information to you where you can get a copy of my lawsuit and see which attorneys represent the federal employee and requesting for them to be dismissed, and therefore not recommending that the RICO Act, in other words, be enforced, where the FBI agent can investigate, in other words, my claim against John Bel Edward and everybody else that conspired with him, your local EEOC officers. And again, I take my hat off to, I know it's presidential time, Mr. Byrne, but enough is enough. You know, I never thought that the office of the governor, which is the Louisiana Human Rights Commission office, and not only that, Mr. Byrne, Mr. Edwards also, they have received service on some documentation. They're yet to file any type of motion in the court, hoping, praying, I get that the federal Department of Justice would dismiss the suits of all the federal agents, then they could come in and try to file, have my lawsuit transferred down probably to the Louisiana Eastern District Court, where they have full control of the judges and stuff down there in federal court. Again, I take my hat off. I'm seeking for justice, Mr. Byrne, and I'm asking for any lawyers, anybody in the United States, Washington, D.C. area, District of Columbus, that can handle my case. I have the money to retain an attorney. I'm seeking an attorney to represent my federal lawsuit in the United States District Court of District of Columbia. Thank you all so much at this time.
Very good. And once again, Dr. Dantzler, it was a pleasure to have you as a guest, and we'll look forward to how this turns out. Thank you again.
You're welcome, Mr. Byrne.